You might be asking yourself, what is public affairs exactly? And that's a great question. And to me, it's a very emerging, growing need that our clients have. And you ask, is it lobbying or what is it? No, it's not lobbying, but it works in partnership a lot of times with lobbying, because what it does is it's the same audience essentially a lot of the times. It's decision makers, it's folks in government, and you do need to be boots on the ground talking to them on a consistent basis, definitely. But the question is, what are you going to say to them? How are you going to say it? How are you going to deliver that information? What tools do you have in the toolbox to reach them? How are you going to develop an effective message? And so it's essentially helping organizations, move the needle, be heard on issues that are important to them when they're trying to talk to decision makers. We see all sorts of clients that need public affairs support, and it kind of, there could be a problem, like they're in a situation where their industry or maybe specifically their organization is under threat, and they need help identifying a good message to reach the people who are making that decision. But it also can be on the other end of the spectrum where there's an opportunity where they want to see opportunities for growth. Maybe there's an organization who wants a specific project done, and so it's just the type of clients are always different, and they're kind of a set of assortment of different needs. But it's always they're trying to reach a certain decision maker or decision makers to influence a decision, and the public affairs side of it is again, it's who are these folks, what are we going to say to them to persuade them, and how are we going to reach them? And that's really where public affairs, kind of simply put, work is important.
I mean, I think to Ben's point, it's going to be anybody from, organizations or individuals who, are experts, in, this specific field, but, want to know how they can say something better or message it to better, or see if there's a different audience that they could help persuade. There's going to be people who, just don't understand where to start or what to do. And, we're going to start from the very, very basics of helping them develop a message or understanding what to say or how to say it. And then there can be clients who are coming in, in a crisis situation, and, we're trying to assess, what the issue is, if it really is a crisis, and if it is a crisis, how we can mitigate that and, utilize tools within our firm to help them remedy the situation and get back on the right foot.
Yeah, there's a wide range of tools that can be used. And there's traditional media. I said a client, we wrote an op-ed for them, and obviously it was the general public was the audience, but specifically it was for certain elected officials. There's digital strategy. There's grassroots in kind of galvanizing constituents to reach decision makers, and so it kind of runs the gamut on different ways and different tools you can use. But again, as we've talked about, it all requires an individual strategy, and understanding what the tools are and how to utilize them is critically important. And that's what I think where we're the most helpful to clients is when we can really hone in on that winning message and then really identify the tools that are the most effective to delivering it.
And I think one of the things that we bring to the table is, we have, a number of people in the firm that have so much experience in federal government, state government, coalitions, associations, private business. And, we're here because, we've made mistakes and we've learned from those mistakes, and we don't want you to make those same mistakes. And so that's, we bring that to the table, the knowledge of, kind of what not to do sometimes. And sometimes that's more important than knowing what to do. So I think, that's one thing that, when you utilize our firm, we can bring an expertise to your particular issue to hopefully advance it. I could think of, an example where public affairs strategy has, come into play from the standpoint of the client not necessarily, taking, the advice. And in particular, we had a client who was very interested in a specific issue that was going to be included or not included into a piece of legislation that was working its way through committee. The lobbyist who we were working with said, we're in a really tenuous situation with the leadership in the legislature, and they're working very hard to make sure that your client's issue is taken care of. And what we need at this time is just to let us do the work that we need to do. And so I had a conversation with the client, and they really felt the need that they thought it was very important that they share their issue with the public through a press conference. And they went ahead and did that, and it turned out that, it did backfire on them from the standpoint that it made the work that the leadership was doing to try and fix their issue that much more difficult. And so I think, sometimes they can have best intentions and they think they, have the right path and the correct positioning. But that's why we as professionals in the public affairs space, are critically important, because we have those connections with the people who are, actually doing the work of creating the legislation. And, we always try and serve our clients the best we can and give them that best advice. And, when we're getting advice from the people who are the decision makers saying, hey, we got this, no need to help us or assist. And then, the clients gild the lily and kind of try and make it more than what it is. It does put them in a tough situation.
Yeah, it's not communications, it's strategic communications. And sometimes you want to turn it on, sometimes you want to turn it off. And I think what we've seen with clients is this not really truly appreciating the consequences to an action. And like, it sometimes feels great to make a big announcement or to, do a press conference. But hey, hold on a minute, let's take a different approach here. And I think that public affairs ultimately is about truly understanding the landscape. What are going to be the consequences to action? What's the consequences to not action? And maybe there's something in between that we can a sweet spot we can find. But, and then there's also times where, getting out there, telling your story, that's what's needed. That's how we're going to move the needle. And so just to be able to identify those circumstances, strategically handle situations as they come up, and helping clients kind of get because really ultimately the end game is what is important, and making sure that they get there in a through a smooth and strategic process.